Now, of course, when we're thinking about office type fragrances, we're thinking about fragrances that smell very clean, citrusy, fresh, refined, professional, that executive style DNA. Well, in this video, I've compiled 10 fragrances that, in my opinion, possess that CEO personality about them. So this is my Keep Only 10 Office Fragrances for Life niche edition. I'm excited to get on with this list, so make sure to stay tuned. Before I begin this video and I tell you all about these 10 niche fragrances in my collection that really give off this office-friendly, professional CEO type of a DNA, I do want to start things off by mentioning that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to enable all notifications by clicking on the bell icon. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you take something of value from today's episode. Now, before I begin this video, I do want to mention that most of these fragrances can be sampled at scentsplit.com. They are an amazing website to use if you're looking for decants, if you just want to sample a fragrance prior to actually purchasing a full bottle of it, because let's face it, because this is a niche list, a lot of the fragrances in this list actually are quite expensive. So I don't know too many people who are comfortable spending $300, $400, or even $500 for a single bottle. So I would certainly recommend purchasing samples or decants first from ScentSplit, and then go ahead and see if it's worth your time. And if you actually enjoy the fragrance, then you can commit to purchasing a full-size bottle. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get it started. The first fragrance I want to talk about is by the brand Royal Crown, and it's called Celebration. I've actually had conversations with Antonio Visconti, who is the perfumer and founder of the brand. Celebration is one of the best fragrances I've ever smelled. It has a ton of really natural citrus, a lot of citrus and bergamot, especially from Italy. There's lemon, there's a little bit of orange in here, and there's an overdose of mint, which I absolutely love. Definitely smells professional, very easy to wear, very smooth, very refined, and it's that citrus that's in there that gives it that professional, refined quality. Definitely conveys that CEO quality that I'm looking for when it comes down to a professional, work-appropriate fragrance. Of course, we also have to mention Green Irish Tweed by the brand Creed. This fragrance with that bright bergamot, the Florentine iris, the lemon verbena is just so brilliantly bright and flavorful. Of course, a lot of people compare it to Cool Water by Davidoff or Aspen by Coty, Trenuite by Armaf. It's definitely in the family of those fragrances, but this here, and my bottle is completely empty. Well, it has a few sprays in it, but this is one that I definitely need to purchase a new bottle of because I wear this fragrance all the time. I will always be with a fragrance in my collection, and I definitely need to pick up a new, I suppose, 3.4 ounce bottle now because that's what the brand manufactures. I also want to talk about Citrus Riviera by BDK Parfum. This is a beautiful sort of citrusy, herbal, and aromatic fragrance. And again, just like I said for Celebration by Royal Crown, it's all of these citrusy elements that are in here that give it that bright, uplifting, and refined professional quality. There's also like this aromatic herbal component about it that kind of reminds me of Mandarino di Amalfi by Tom Ford, which contains the note of shiso. So I'm thinking there's a little bit of that happening in here, but it's a beautiful fragrance. Very classy, very easy to wear, very professional smelling. Of course, we also have this brand, Florist London, and it's been around for a very long time. I don't think ScentSplit has this fragrance though, but they do have another one that I think is equally good for office settings. It's called German Street. This fragrance here is called Spiced Bergamot. That's exactly what you get, bergamot and cinnamon. It's beautifully spiced. It has this warm, amiable nature about it, but it also has a lot of that citrus in here that is very inviting, very bright, very uplifting. Of course, we also have one of my favorite releases from last year by Memo Paris. It's called Corfu. This one is grapefruit and rhubarb. So the unique and interesting thing about the note of rhubarb is it can kind of come across a little bit like strawberry, but it also has that grapefruit note in the opening, which is so bright and tart and effervescent. And so if you're looking for a citrus dominant fragrance that also has a little bit of complexity about it, I would highly recommend going for Corfu by Memo Paris. Of course, we also have a mainstay of my collection. This is one that I've actually had a few bottles of along the way, and I will probably purchase the most recent extrait version of it. This one by the brand Amouage, based out of Oman, is called Reflection for Men. Of course, there's the new one, Reflection 45, which is concentrated at 45% oil, which is like mind-boggling. I've done a review of it, so I'm going to leave a card to that up here. But this is a lot of neroli and some spices, a little bit of rose if I'm remembering correctly. So it's a beautifully done composition by perfumer Lucas Suzak, based out of Spain. I love wearing this so much. Like I said, it's my second bottle, and I've also worn this to work on many occasions, as I have with Green Irish Tweed, as I have with several florist fragrances in my collection, pardon me. And then we also have another classic. Nobody out there is a stranger to this one. This actually comes from one of the most well-known niche brands in the industry and in the community. The brand, of course, is none other than Parfums de Marly, and the fragrance is called Percival. Now, Percival is this beautifully bright and citrusy mint fragrance, and it also has lavender in there. So you're going to get a whole lot more mint from something like Celebration by Royal Crown. Well, with Percival, you have this modern, contemporary lavender type of a fragrance that some might equate to the smell of Fierce by Abercrombie & Fitch, or even Legend by Montblanc, except Percival smells so niche, if you will, and professional, and it definitely smells of higher quality than a Montblanc Legend. And so I'm really enjoying this one. I think it's a great fragrance to pick up, and yet again, another one that I wear to work, but I also get a ton of compliments wearing it as well, so I really appreciate that. Now, the next one is probably my most worn work fragrance, just because it's such a dumb reach, meaning that if I can't think of what else to wear, I often reach for this one. Always does the job, always gets me compliments, always makes me feel like $1,000,000. And of course, we also have to think about the line of work that we do. I'm a teacher, so I'm always inside the classroom. I come across and I cross paths with about anywhere between 100 to 200 people a day, students and staff members included. And so I want to make sure that I smell good and I give off that aura of professionalism. And of course, Creed Aventus always does the trick. Pineapple, apple, blackcurrant. You know, you have that vanilla in the base, which is very warm and sensual, but it also serves as a really nice complement to that bright, fruity, tart, professional quality that you're also going to get from that pineapple and birch combination, the birch lending it a little bit of a smokiness, which also adds this sort of unconventional masculine quality to the fragrance while smelling contemporary all the way through. The next fragrance is also a lavender-based fragrance, and very much like Percival by Parfums de Marly, the lavender comes across smelling super classy, super gentlemanly. It also has this high-end nature and feature about it. It's actually made by a fellow YouTube reviewer, Mr. Smelly, 1977. He's not the perfumer, but he is the creative director. And this one by the brand Naughton & Wilson is called Gravitas Pour Homme. If you are looking for a really classy, masculine, timeless, creamy lavender fragrance, Gravitas is the way to go. Bon Vivre is another one that also possesses a very high-end professional CEO kind of a vibe. Now, the thing with this one is that I can also see myself wearing this one to a really classy, high-end scenario. Perhaps it's a date or a wedding or some other scenario that requires a certain level of formality. And so I absolutely love Gravitas. And the fragrance that I want to talk about, and of course, these are really in no particular order, although this next one smells super classy, super professional, happens to be my scent of the day. I'm going to put some more on after this video because I love the opening of this fragrance. And this one reminds me of tons of citrus and a really classy, smooth vetiver note that is really approachable. And this one by the company Raja Parfum is called Oligarch. This one, you smell not only like a CEO, but you smell like a king. This is super classy, super professional, super opulent, without necessarily smelling like resins and amber and woods and smoke and incense, because whenever I think of opulent perfumes, those are the notes or accords that I typically gravitate towards. However, they can also come across smelling a little bit challenging, because when we're trying to cater to Western sentiments, people typically veer towards brighter, fresher, more citrus dominant fragrances, and Oligarch has everything that I love about that DNA. Bright, citrusy, flavorful, vetiver, very classy, very professional smelling. And here we have 10 fragrances that are super appropriate for the office. If I had to keep only 10 office fragrances for life, let me tell you, I would be set and I would have really nice diversity among these 10. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know, what fragrances do you love wearing to the office, whether it be designer or niche. I always love the interaction. I love reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in sampling most of these fragrances, at least 9 out of 10 of them, you may do so at scentsplit.com. Again, all of the links are going to be down below. If you took something of value from this video, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to enable all notifications by clicking on the bell icon. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you take something of value from today's episode. Thanks again for watching. Love you all. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.